of taking those super early objectives. But I think they left a couple of openings or took some bad fights, and that really gave NP a chance to get back into this game. And so Newbee have got to be thinking we have to execute a little bit better on that. We can't just be content with that early map control.
Yeah, we'll see.
Does look like the draft is going back in.
Yep.
Yeah, there
Time
you go.
for game 2.
Yeah, and Rose, his hair is pink because he is the heart of the team. Because apparently hearts are pink.
Are they?
That was the conclusion of the video.
Someone told me, you know how like a love heart doesn't look like an actual heart? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't, right? But apparently a love heart is if you put two actual human, like anatomically correct human hearts together, it kind of looks like a love heart. Apparently. That's
Hasn't
cute, right?
he changed his hair color already? I think it was orange in the intro video. Isn't
No,
it?
no,
That's
oh.
just green screen magic, I
Oh,
think.
Yeah,
I thought he was doing some Dennis Rodman thing or something.
Changing his hair every day.
Yeah, I quite like the orange, actually.
Today I'm feeling pink. Yeah.
Anyway, come on, let's get back into this draft, because we have had some bans. Let's just quickly recap. It looks like we're going to be seeing Warlock taken away by Newbee, and we've already highlighted it. It may be perhaps a quick touch on that one, Gods, as to why Warlock once again has been first on the chopping block. Just so influential.
It's the team fight, and it's NP preferring it as well. It's their most played support for Rose at this point, and it wins some team fights. You talk about how can you help Eternal Envy. One of the big questions there, it's having a hero like Warlock sitting behind him. If he gets initiated on, you drop the rock, you fatal bonds everyone, you win fights.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And we saw the ridiculous combo of Venomancer and Warlock earlier on today. That was, well, I'm not going to completely quote MSS, but it was strong.
It was very strong.
Yeah.
Well,
And
same draft.
Was we watching a replay of game 1 or what?
Yes, because this is both openings are the same so far. If they would pick Luna, I mean, to be fair, NP almost won. So you know that it wasn't the strategy that was at fault. It wasn't the draft that was at fault. It was the decision making and the play at the end that was the reason that they lost the game. So why not have the
We
same
gave the draft
again?
to NP in game 1, so
Yeah,
they might be thinking the same thing here.
yeah, and I mean, same ban. This is great.
But is this something that Newbee would be willing to do, just to play, like, well, not replay, but to give them what they had before?
You'll normally see the the 4 picks at the start the same, because teams will, going into a series, say these are the heroes we have to ban, and they'll ban them all 3 games. And that's where you'll often see repeated opening 2 picks, but then the adjustments come. 3rd and 4th ban are never set going to series. 3rd and 4th ban, you're not reacting, so likely, they ban the silencer. We'll see changes in the 3rd and 4th bans, and we'll probably see different 3rd, 4th, and 5th picks. Maybe you'll see one of the same heroes, but you won't see the same 5.
You just get you get your basic start, and that's when the innovation does begin. I don't want to start asking for expectations, but I just want to see how that bans. We have seen a Slardar removed. It won't be popping up again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the 3rd pick in the last draft to take out something
purged.
that they themselves would have liked to play. And so you're starting to see the adjustments, as God said, as the draft goes on.
Yeah, we'll see though. I think that that overall still Luna Shadow Demon is still going to be very strong. We saw the game that they won against MVP as well. I think that MP can easily find different ways to synergize. Better yet, they might even be able to make a better draft than previous game, because previous game, as mentioned, they were a little bit greedy. They don't have to be greedy now. Timbersaw was banned out by Newbee previous game because MSS played such an amazing Timbersaw against MVP that last game that NP won, and that is still in the pool, and they can go for that again if they want to.
Whether they will is a different question.
That is a different question, indeed. We'll see what they go for.
So much drow today.
Yeah.
Is this just a common occurrence in this patch? Just everyone loves a bit of drow?
Yep, pretty common occurrence. The hero's been probably even stronger if you go back maybe 3 or 4 months, even go back to TI where Wings were like playing at any game they could get their hands on it. It seems teams got a bit better at dealing with it, which is why you're starting to see it again, because teams feel more confident they can beat it. But if it starts winning a lot, come main event, we'll probably see it start getting banned a lot again. It's going to just depend on how well the hero does.
So much of the meta has revolved around dealing with the drow one way or another. Whether you let it through, you find ways to beat it. And also, obviously, the drow herself evolved. She used to be kind of almost put a timer on your team in the sense that you would need to push and end the game fairly early, or she would fall off. But she's become more of a more dependable carry, generally speaking, recently as well. And that's made her a bit tougher to deal with, too.
Looks like Batrider's back again.
Yeah, that is the question then, if MSS is going to have the Darkseer again. If you don't have a Slardar to pair up with the Darkseer Vacuum, do you feel like NP would still go for that, Jack?
I think they really like what they got out of that offlane, so maybe not unless they find another partner, perhaps like an Axe or something like that. So I'm not sure what they're thinking in terms of the offlane. They took that tower very early on, that helped them. But something that I really liked that Newbee dealt with that in terms of when they started locking NP out of their jungle, they sent a support Shadow Demon top to push out that wave, maybe try to bait a gank out of Newbee, and then their carries could go farm in the jungle. Newbee didn't take that bait. They knew that was going to happen. They stayed off vision, so they got that gank on AoE and kept them out of their jungle. So I really like that adjustment. I'm not sure what they're thinking is. And there's the single target save with that Omni Knight.
Yeah, and they do run this in the offlane. Although they sometimes switch it about. What do you prefer, Gods? Offlane Omni?
Probably the offlane. I think it just guarantees the hero gets more levels and more farm priority, which is something Omni can obviously benefit from, the levels especially. So, as a 4 position, it's kind of hard to have an impact on the early game. Normally, you want to see SVG on something that can be a bit more high impact.
This is something that I expected to see out of the first game draft from NP, either an Omni Knight or an Baden, just because of that save on the heavy single target from these 3 picks that Newbee has right now. And that almost became an issue in the last game when it was hard to deal with all those illusions and images. Usually you'll see that from the Alchemist and Luna, and so that nearly cost them the game, I would say, last game, or hurt them quite a bit, and we're still able to overcome that and win.
So, waiting to see what the response is from NP.
Well, this time, I think Newbee, this is actually an adjustment from last game with the Io pick, because now they have that save. Because that was where there was that time when they were pushing high ground, Morph died with Aegis, died again. That was the moment where the game really turned and was suddenly like, oh, MP can actually win this. They might actually win this. They didn't have any hero defensively to save him. Well, they had the Global Silence, but for now, because on top of you with Chemical Rage, it's too late to Global Silence. The only thing they could maybe do is Flame Break, but Io is the relocate save. It's a hero that can make your carry tankier, so this is, to me, Newbee's adjustment from game 1 with their draft.
Surely they're not going to get Morphling again. I mean, that was a very strong Morphling.
I'd say it's unlikely. I'm not sold that's the best hero for the mid lane with Drow Aura. It wasn't like, it was a good pick, but it wasn't like a dominant pick. Like, they didn't crush that game like on the draft or anything.
I like what this Wisp pick does for Newbee, not just the mobility and save that you were talking about, but they're kind of saying that if you send another dual lane top, we will absolutely destroy your safe lane with this Bat Wisp combo that we've seen quite a bit. Right. And that's going to become unsustainable for NP, even though they may still be able to get farm out of their own safe lane. And so, of course, you have the Ogre sitting mid, too.
Wow.
We were expecting this hero to have, to be seen a lot more than we have today, overall.
We saw, what, one game from Misery on Pudge, I want to say?
That is exciting. So this is our first Pudge on main broadcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Hello.
I think Misery played it one game today, but this is probably the second Pudge.
Second Pudge today.
And it is a little bit of a flavor. I think we're going to see it a lot more tomorrow, for example.
So
we have EG playing.
Why is that? Why was there expectations for much more Pudge?
He's been really good.
Yeah.
I mean,
he saves teammates, he starts fights.
He does everything.
He does everything you need.
There's not many heroes who do both those two things.
Low-budget Bat Rider.
A low-budget Bat
Rider. In terms of being able to position people, but now you don't only position your enemies to be put in the middle of your team, you also can save your teammates, which is very valuable as well. It's a little bit more of a skill shot, but sure. Yeah,
a bit more reliable. And that's one of the things when you pick that offlane Omni Knight, you don't have a fight starter, an initiator. You don't really have a tanky frontliner, so if you want to start a fight and initiate, you have to pick Envy here that can do that. But that's normally, we normally want to see Envy on his Invokers, his carries, his Alchemists, whatever it may be. So instead, they get a full position here that can start the fight for them. They're going to be looking to hit a hook, kill the hero they hook, and then they have that 5v4 advantage.
A little bit of cheese there as well. If there's an Omni Knight Pudge off lane, you got the hook into the purification, and that's a pub stomping combination.
Repel Pudge with Rot. That was the cheese of all cheese back in the day. Always some good fun. But
and you've got more of that defensive single target potential, as you mentioned.
Yep.
I'm still not sold how well it works, because you Bloodlusted Drow, you've got the movement speed to stay away from that, but that's where Pudge you get obviously level 2 hook and Rot, then it can be very annoying. If you land the hooks, Drow's in all sorts of trouble. If you can ward up and protect the Drow, then the combo doesn't work very well.
It did look like Envy had his Alchemist taken away from him this time. Won't be taking that one. Last ban did come in.
I wouldn't be surprised to see something like maybe a sniper here from Newbee, because despite what you said about their picks, they don't have a whole lot of initiation. If you're kind of counting on that support Pudge hook to start fights, it's a bit of a problem in terms of closing gaps. And so if you have a hero like Sniper here in mid, it's a pretty solid matchup for the Razor. You have the mobility already from the heroes that exist. It's going to be very hard to deal with. So interesting to see what they go with here.
But no Morphling. You don't like
You're not expecting a second recurrence of Morphling.
I think it's also a pretty solid choice still. Also with the mobility, some of the same factors, and that burst, it's going to be very hard to control and kill a Morphling.
The sniper idea that you mentioned, it seems like a stronger option, but like you say, both picks can definitely work.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of stuns on NP. They got the Dismember, which is about it. I don't really count Disruption as a stun, because you're safe during the duration of it. So we'll see what they end up going for. They're taking their time for sure. They still have a minute in their bonus time though, so they can.
Razor, Pudge, Omni. I mean, are we already starting to?
Would see the Invoker even, I would say, but.
Invoker could crop up?
Yeah.
The suspense is killing me. This is
So often
Waiting for the
people or
climax.
often teams already know what they're going to go for, and they just spent this time talking about their game plan, so they just have some extra time
yeah,
to
makes sense.
to
Could also be a
discuss
Medusa
things.
or something like that. It gives them some image clear too.
Medusa's a bit of a tough lane against the Razor, maybe, with the static link. But I mean, any hero is not going to enjoy their time against a Razor.
Is there any other IO something combination that we're missing out on that we forgot about? I mean, can they still go for like I don't. This CCC doesn't really play like tiny things or something like that.
Probably not. I'm pretty sure this is going to be headed to help bully the offlane. And
Yeah.
so both offlanes be really interesting. Expect a lot of action there. And Omni Pudge, we'll see what damage that can do.
That I mean, that's gonna decide the tempo of the game for NP for sure.
What, just seeing what the Pudge plays?
Yeah, if Pudge hits his hooks, it's gonna be amazing. If it doesn't, then it's gonna be very lackluster.
Called it.
But it is the Medusa, as Jack mentioned.
Jack, you're an oracle. You're a savant.
Yeah.
Went for the Medusa, and that is locked in. So that's our draft selected for our second. And of course, very quickly before we do introduce your casters, is gentlemen and ladies, do we see a third? What are we thinking here? Quick brainstorm. It was so close in the first. I feel like this deserves a third.
I want to see a third, but I don't think
Not
it will
expecting
happen.
it. Okay.
It's all up to SVG on the Pudge. He's been good this tournament, but I'm going to have to stick with Newbee, I think.
All right. All eyes on SVG.
Yep.
Got to make those Pudge plays. Well, we've got to go ahead and head over to your casters. It is none other than Owen who's standing by to guide us through the action with Winter. What's going on over there?
Well, not a lot at the moment, Alex. We're waiting for the game to start. And it's going to be quite a game indeed as well. We've had the two drafts coming out, Newbee and MP, ready to bat heads together here in Game 2. We've got the SVG Pudge coming through. It's very much an MP lineup in terms of Envy on the Razor, MSS on the Omni Knight, some things that we only really see MP do. Newbee themselves finishing off with the Medusa, as Jack predicted, something that's going to help against the Illusion Clear, but potentially suffers elsewhere in the lane. I mean, how does the Medusa do against Envy's Razor?
Razor definitely has the upper hand, but
Yeah.
Medusa is still going to be able to farm with the snake, the Mrs. Snake, and you push the lanes out. And I would expect the Ire to help the Medusa out a lot in the early game. So I think he'll be fine against the Razor. I would expect SVG on the Pudge to be, creating a lot more problems and like trying to move around the top lane with the Omni Knight Repel Rod, like the panel mentioned. Very, very annoying in the lane. It's very difficult for the supports to deal with, and if you get a hook on top of that, it's more or less going to net you a kill.
Yeah, so I mean, would you agree with kind of the panel sentiment that a lot of this early game for MP is down to SVG's
It's
performance?
always going to be on the 4 position player in the early game. So important. The way you move, how much damage you can deal towards the enemy safe lane. I would say the movement part is the most important. Knowing when to stay in the lane, when to move to gank the other lanes, to help the other lanes. All those are decisions that are really crucial. He chose to go for a hook at level 1. He's going to try and hook the Medusa up to the high ground.
Oh, SVG.
Hook.
Oh!
No!
Oh.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Pause. Lag. Oh, audio.
That was first blood if he got the hook.
I mean, you got to try. If you don't, if you never try for those things, you never do it.
But that was expensive. So now they don't have the repel rod
Yeah.
in the lane. So their laning phase is not going to be as potent as we talked about. Having the hook at level 1. I mean, eventually you're going to get level 2, but it's going to mean that you won't have much kill potential without the rod in the lane.
And we have SCCC giving us the Xiaolong bout. And Aoi asking him out for a date. KP putting in the codes.
Agent 3154.
Agent 3154. Absolutely. Showing off the players here.
That explains some of the stuff Jackie was doing the last game.
I don't think anything explains the stuff that was going on that last game. No matter of codes.
Well, at least I would expect him to get a pretty good laning phase. In the games we saw MP struggle today, like Envy was like having a terrible laning phase.
Oh, it's been an up and down day for MP for sure, and it's not a surprise really.
When I was on the
MP.
panel,
it's a lot of excitement.
I was talking about how MP should maybe prioritize a little bit more on the laning phase of Envy. Try to give him like a better start. If you're not helping him with your supports, you need to give him a good 1v1 matchup.
What do they write? Is that MSS trying to write sponsors on the map? Come on. Oh, what's this setup? What's he drawing here? It looks like a man throwing a ball. This is MSS's art. It's going to be a beautiful face. I think they're trying to write anime. What's this?
You tell me, Owen.
This is the adventure of the man who flew across the sea and then had SVG written across his face and died. SVG, that's not a nice word to describe SVG, Rose. Come on. My bad. My bad. Oh. Who's apologizing? Oh, SVG says my bad for missing the hook. He's trying to talk to us. Lol. Who's that with the memes? That's MSS. Combined effort from MSS and Envy. All right.
A good job, Owen. That was precisely what they were trying to say.
It was. They were trying to talk to us. They're trying to communicate. They're becoming sentient. And what is this? This is... You've heard about split screen. We're giving you 2 screens at once here at the same time.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Is something up with the screen, or have I just taken too many funny stuff?
Oh,
here we go. I'm so confused right now. I'm tripping.
Look at my screen, Owen.
I'm looking at your screen. Whoa. Oh. Well, I'm back on planet Earth. That was funky.
Nope, you didn't miss anything.
I didn't miss anything.
Apart from punch.
Apart from someone suiciding, it's got to become the norm here in this patch. Come in and throw your spells, kill yourself, and repeat. That's the standard here in 6.88. Up the top, MSS and Faith. Hammer to the back. Hammer versus Club. Looks like MSS has got the more upgrades on his item. As he will be able to beat the Ogre back to his lane. Bottom lane, Rose making a bit of a go here. In fact, now he's coming in as well. Only level 1, but it's going to allow him to get a fair bit of punch in with the right click.
Yep.
With that Luna Aura.
He's going to get some help from Kaka right now. I like the way they are actually helping out the lanes with the Eye right now. He knows that Medusa's going to need some help in the first few waves, and he was there in the mid lane first, and then right now he's there in the bottom lane to get KP to that all-important level 2 as Bad Rider. You need to get that level 2, so if you can't lane, you at least have the option open for you to jungle. But right now, they're putting a lot of pressure on the lane. There's a big crit wave coming in. See if they can actually try to make a move with the Bad Rider with level 2 here.
Yeah, they're kind of toying with the idea, just starting to try and get the napalm stacked up onto Owie.
Yep,
I'm going to get a couple of stacks. That'll be the initial disruption from Rose to hold back KP, but he moves on forward. Didn't manage to continue the chain there with the 3rd stack of napalm. Owie in a lot of trouble as the Firefly from KP is starting to melt down upon the Luna. He'll pop the stick charges, trying to keep himself alive. It's not going to be enough, and in fact, Rose in trouble as well as KP and Kaka teaming up on this bottom lane. Beautifully done, and they should be able to secure a second, and indeed they do. Double kill for KP. Kaka tethers across. He's back to safety as well, and that was just absolutely perfect. They did that incredibly well, to the extent that MP just didn't know what to do against that sort of a play. It was flawless.
They were dead at that point when there was such a big crit wave coming in with the Bad Rider and IO together. There was nothing they could have done there.
Oh!
3 out of 3 hooks missed so far from SVG.
Get the missed hooks out of the way first. That's the strat here, really. You save the good hooks for when it counts later on. He's just, doesn't want to use up all his skill at the start.
I mean, right now, Newbee with that 2 kills on the bottom lane is going to be super happy about the early game. And Draw Ranger still farming well, despite the dual lanes that MP is doing. 13 last hits so far, and Luna's on 6. So Newbee getting much of the better trade in the early game.
The mid lane, though, MV, 14 for 4 against SCCC's 9 for 1. He has got the lead, but I guess this kind of a difference is, as you said, expected between these two heroes.
Yep.
This is what you expect to see.
Razor is a hero you pick to win the lane.
Yeah.
Like, Medusa is kind of okay being behind, because Razor has an expiration date where if the game goes too long, the hero doesn't offer as much as a Medusa. You really want to use the hero to pressure towers and push with the Omni early. So we might see like maybe an Aghanims build on the Razor to pressure towers if they actually get a good momentum in the game to push down towers. But if the game goes late, Medusa is going to be a huge problem for them when they're trying to siege high ground especially.
Not only just, as you mentioned, the double kill that KP had, just looking at the CS as well for Owie. He's really being held back in this bottom lane because of the pressure that Newbee are being able to put onto him.
I mean, right now at this point, MP has to consider getting more heroes down here to the bottom lane. Like Pudge has to be thinking about, should I go bottom right now to help secure the bottom lane? Can I secure the bottom lane if I move that right down? Because Newbee with the double kill is already in a very advantageous position. So maybe moving the Pudge down isn't going to help deal with any of the pressure. So maybe it's a better choice to stay top to help the Omni. It's a very difficult position for MP to decide, should they move SVG to bottom or not.
And we'll see if, as you said, they do continue to have him up here, or eventually we'll see the decision being made.
He has a TP though, so he might be just waiting for a dive to happen, but that might be too late. Because U9 here, having a man fight with MSS on Omni. Gets the last hit on the neutral.
They're trying to use what the degen aura to slow him down to allow SVGs to get a hook, but U9 just a little bit too speedy.
They have to be careful. Kaka is rotating in with the IO. There's 3 heroes in the top lane right now. After securing the bottom lane, Kaka has chosen to go back to the safe lane to relieve some of the pressure from the Omni Pudge. Here comes the stun.
And the follow-through silence, very nice. SVG will get the hook onto Kaka, and MSS actually able to get off the purification in time, repels SVG to allow him move forward with the rod, not hurt himself. MSS getting dove upon, will be taken down. SVG might be able to get himself something out of this one, though, as he tries to trap up Faith. Doesn't quite have the damage to finish him off, and still no mana for the hook. And U9 moves in and able to take down SVG at the end of it all as well.
And bottom lane, like SD cancelled his TP. He was like gonna TP to the top, but Bear Rider was making a very aggressive play onto the Luna there. So he decides to stop his TP, tries to help up the Luna. Luna didn't end up going down there, but the kill on top on the Pudge tells MP that there's a ward, there's a high ground ward there for Newbee. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gotten the vision there to get that last right click on the Pudge.
And one thing to look at as well is this mid lane where Envy was at the start winning it.
Bottom lane,
catching up here.
The 2 supports smoked up. They're going to run into the Bat Rider, but he has backup here.
He does, but at the same time, Kaka has to worry about MSS. They've got the numbers advantage here, MP. KP will try with a leading lasso onto SVG, but SVG and MSS ready to give Newbee a bit of a rundown.
More backup over.
SCCC turning up the neighborhood as well, making the numbers even for the side of Newbee, and now with Faith turning in, he's ready to make it a 4v3 as MP starts to crumble. They've already lost SVG. They should lose MSS as well. He tries to keep himself alive with the purification. It's not enough. Faith with the final club to bring him down, as Newbee just moving just ahead of MP in terms of reacting very nicely to what MP are trying to do with those movements.
I mean, just once again, really, really good movements from Newbee, like using...
And they know Rose is here as well.
Using their IO plus the Ogre together, like such effective movement right there from both the supports, securing the lane, and Bear Rider was already having a good time, but putting even more pressure onto the Luna.
And they're not only just going to get a tower, they're going to get themselves even more Rose left behind, and the ward behind the tower from Newbee giving them the intel to know that they can move in for more. It's certainly starting to heat up really heavily here in favor of the side of Newbee. Is it 7 for 1?
Here comes KP. He's going to try and run down an SVG here. He's going to scout him out, but deciding not to go for it. But everything is going Newbee's way right now. Like, MP is just struggling to get a foothold on the game. Like, Pudge so far has not been able to accomplish anything at all in the early game. A lot of this has to do with, getting the hook at level 1, missing the first blood, missing the hook, and then you don't have Rod in the laning phase, so you can't put pressure with the Omni Knight. Like, all of these small things. Oh, he's going to run into the IO.
Yeah, he's going to find... but Kaka tethering across, juking it out. Able to keep himself alive. Envy actually popped the ult as well, hoping to be able to commit for that IO kill. But he's not going to get it. And Newbee themselves, we'll see if they want to tease around jumping back in. They do have to be a little careful, though, Newbee, because there are 4 members of MP moving across. Envy trying to chase down U9. It's not going to happen. At the least, MP may be able to find a tower out of this one, but Newbee's still poking and prodding them at them from behind. Faith's going to make his way back up on the Ogre as well. And Newbee could certainly try and fight this one. MP have to be careful with this push, and as we can see already, backing away from the tier 1 after the fortification comes out. They know that this is not going to be an easy tower to take, and Envy is already TPing out of that one, not wanting to get caught up in what could be pretty messy for MP on the top lane. And in fact, they've stayed around a little too long as KP starts to close the gap. Has got the lasso available, and he's going to be able to catch out Aoi. Again, the hook from SVG is not going to achieve anything. The repel will be enough, though, to keep Luna alive. But it's proving to be very hard for MP to achieve anything across the map now at this stage.
Yeah, they're just like trying to get farm, and SD was using that last minute or so getting his level 6 from bottom lane. So at least he's able to do that, and they didn't give up any kills at the top lane with the lasso being on cooldown. I mean, it was still pretty decent. They moved a lot of newbie heroes on top, and they didn't lose any heroes, and they were able to get level 6 on the SD. Like, they have to take one step at a time. Every little bit of resource gain is a small victory for MP right now, because they are in a really bad position from the laning phase. Eventually, you want to stack up for the Luna so that he can farm the Ancients. Those are all your comeback resource, as the game progresses. And for Newbee, they just completed drums, so they're not gonna get a super early blink. But Bat Rider is really strong with the IO. Right now with the drums at a really, really good timing. Drums won. It's very, very good for fighting early with the IO. And Newbee is just going to look to pressure with the next lasso up in 15 seconds. They're going to look to push out the bottom lane, look to take a fight after that.
Let's see if they can find something here with this smoke. SVG leading the way. Faith may dispel the smoke if he comes close enough, and indeed he will. They spotted him out.
They have no stun for him.
I mean, they're relying on Rose to get a disruption, but Faith, he's just on the edge of it all.
God, that was so unfortunate.
SVG, again, thinking about maybe trying for or fishing for a hook, but it's just not coming out from MP, and his movement's just proving to be a little bit awkward here from the side.
Yep, and they have the relocate up on Kaka right now, so he's going to be able to save whoever gets focused by the Pudge. And this is not looking good for MP right now. Another failed movement right there for them. And all the lanes are pushed out, so once the Bat Rider pushes out the bottom, he's going to look to try and help his teammates in the mid lane. Well, MP have to be very careful. If they lose another engagement in the mid lane and they lose their tower, the game is going to get super hard for them. Well, that's a good sign. Rose finds the deep ward. Going to be able to remove that vision that's helping Newbee out a lot. They definitely need to take a fight before Newbee tries to get Roshan. It's going to happen at some point. If they allow Newbee to get an easy uncontested Rosh, the game would be really difficult for them. It is already very difficult for them right now. But that's the next thing Newbee would try to look to do.
But it's very hard for MP to fight around the pit, isn't it? Because they've got the constant threat of being caught in a position where Stone Gaze comes through.
If they land their hooks with the Eclipse,
if they get the hooks.
Yeah, if they get a good hook with the Eclipse, they can win the fight.
But bottom lane SVG's come out, and again, still with this ward.
It's the relocate.
They might not even need it. I mean, SVG has a hook, but the Firefly itself is enough damage. Envy is coming across, and maybe that's a find a kill in return. KP trying to get himself away, back to safety across the tree line. It's not going to happen, so MP will be able to punish KP's play there.
I think they would have probably regretted not using the relocate there.
Well, turning that into a bigger, meatier fight.
I mean, they needed to get out faster. He took too long to kill the Pudge, and it was not a good trade-off.
No.
Trading his life for support there and giving the Razor almost 500 gold for the killing spree ended. That was definitely not a good trade for KP. I think if they used the relocate there, they got the kill faster and get out, probably he wouldn't have needed to die.
SVG.
Finally he lands a hook.
That is a big hook as well, dragging the Deucer down behind the tier 1s. Mass TP's coming through, but the relocate save is there from Kaka.
Oh, that was actually really close. If Kaka wasn't there, SEC was there's no way he's going to get out. He's going to try for the TP if he gets the timing right.
It's so hard to do. It's just a few ticks of the server that you can actually achieve that upon.
At mid lane, we see Envy here trying to defend and hold the mid tier 1. Running up against 3 heroes there. No fear at all. And U9 and Kaipi just backing off after that. They're still trying to look to, get to their blink on the Bat Rider at some point. Get a pick off and get Roshan. That will be their next immediate objective for Newbee. They want to get a pick off, maybe win a team fight, get Roshan. They're still not confident in running into the Roshan right now. As I mentioned, a hook into Eclipse could be very deadly for them if they get caught out. A good hook would mean that MP gets to most likely kill a free hero for nothing. And it's going to be hard for Newbee to take the fight from there. So they still need to be very careful when approaching the Roshan.
Again, though, this is another bit of movement from MP that's all being spotted out by Newbee. They know that they're hanging around the edge of the tower. And MP, I think they realise they're not going to be able to get a catch, so start to moving in and trying to finish off the tier 1 in the mid lane. KP with a very nice rune pickup. Has an invis, but at the same time, the sentry is down, ready and waiting in the mid lane from MP.
Yep, and MP is pretty strong at this stage with Guardian Angel up, and they have the Dragonlance completed on the Razor with Phase Boots, and Luna with the Eclipse. Newbee has to be cautious when taking this fight, even though they are sort of technically ahead.
KP's got, they can see him. KP's got to be very careful how close he comes. SVG's going to try for the hook. It was close. Not close enough.
Well, right now he doesn't have enough mana for 2 spells, so it's gonna either need a bottle. There's no arcane. There's gonna be an arcane in 20 seconds.
He's gonna try and come back in again here. Demonic plays straight down onto him. In fact, KP in a lot of trouble. Kaka keeping him alive though on the IO. They've actually managed to find the kill onto SVG and now moving in for more. MV lassoed up, dragged back. The bat falling low. KP will finally go down, but Newbee are trying to find the favorable trade. Indeed, they get it with 3 heroes falling on the side of MP. The big ones as well. Both Aoi and Envy losing their lives in that engagement.
Oh my god. That was such a good play by SCC there on the Medusa. Once they led in with the Bat Rider and MP was like focusing him, he just ran up with the Stone Gaze and he got like, what, 2 hero stone minimum?
Yeah. It was as you said, just really nicely done from Newbee. And Kaka's play as well on the IO, just keeping his teammates alive for long enough to allow them to get the job done. You know, at the end of the day, KP may have fallen, but getting that lasso and so setting up for the team to find those very, very high value kills, bringing down both the big cores of MP. And these fights are going to potentially get a lot harder as well with the kind of the advent of the dual Hurricane Pikes coming out, both of Newbee's cores. It's going to be very hard for Aoi and Envy to kind of find themselves in the center of the fights where they want to be with their ultimates. And of course, Razor with his static link, it's just not going to happen as he's going to get shoved straight back out.
I mean, then again, it comes back to the hook. If they land a good hook, they pull someone out of position, then MP doesn't have to commit into the Stone Gaze. Then the fight would be much more favorable for them. So it's all about landing the hooks on the Putcher. They have no setup, so it's going to be super, super difficult. You can't really expect the hook to land every time. And here comes the Firefly to try and stop the push and slow it down, try to deny the tower. And
they want to fight this Newbee. SVG tries the hook, isn't going to find it. Envy kind of on the front lines here. It's a good multicast from the Ogre, bringing him down low. Purification is there, but the save is not enough.
They actually have no GA, so I'm not sure why they committed that hard without the GA.
And the question is, if they lose anything more, being shoved into position here, they'll find one. There'll be a hook from SVG trying to save MSS. It's not enough as the right clicks come through for Newbee. As this is starting to really fall apart from MP.
There was definitely some ballsy play there by NP. Going into that fight without Omni Knight's Guardian Angel, that was really, really questionable from them. And Newbee, they basically had everything up. Lasso is a short cooldown. I mean, Stone Gaze is the only like sort of a longer cooldown on their side.
And it's interesting to see as well how they were using the Medusa with the Stone Gaze there. They were both forcing her in with the Hurricane Pikes to get her into position. And this is something that you've got to be worried about as well for MP. Because of these positioning tools, you have to be careful because this Medusa suddenly is shoved past your front lines and into the crux of your team, where she's going to get off a very nice Stone Gaze. And it's very, very kind of confusing for MP as they have to find a way to fight around it.
All the games today when MP picked Omni Knight, they have like a very, very similar problem. Lack of stuns. Because when you pick Omni Knight on the off lane, like as a core role, then you are most likely replacing a hero like Clockwork, you're replacing a hero like Slardar, Sand King. You're taking away a lot of control. And when you're not 5-manning successfully with Omni Knight and you're not taking towers, the hero becomes, very limited in terms of what he provides to the team.
And I guess it's something that on paper in the draft you can say it's rectified by the fact you've got a Pudge with the hook to set up.
But it's not reliable.
But yeah, you've got to hit those hooks, and SVG's been having a tough time this game.
I mean, it's not even really entirely his fault. Like, they have no setup. So sometimes when you see Pudge being picked, it's paired with a Rubik. You have a lift into a hook.
Yeah, I mean, and it's Shadow Demon, but that is not a good combo. Exactly. 2 out of 3 times the illusion's in the way. It is a hard game for the Pudge, as you said.
And the other cores are Razor and Luna. None of them have a reliable stun. I mean, Lucent Beam is kind of like a, almost a 1-second stun. Yep, but Pudge is going to struggle.
On MV. He has been lassoed here straight up by KP. MSS is going to try and come over the safe. Just has his GA available to help him out. Already TP's out from Aoi as he immediately gets himself away from the fight. MSS will be left for dead though. MV will manage to get himself back. But both MSS and SVG going down. SVG did manage to get the suicide off, though, at least, so it does just end effectively the 1-for-1 trade.
And they got a tower, so
They'll
good
take
trade.
that. Yeah, 1-for-1 trade in tower. Okay, we'll do it.
pretty good trade all in all. And on the other side of the map, Aoi actually got the kill on to Kaka on the IO. So, I mean, all in all, I think MP will be really happy about that trade, getting a kill, getting a tower, losing the Omni Knight for the tower, and just, you know, overall creating space for the other heroes to farm the rest of the map.
They were fighting into the Drow that didn't have the defusal at the time, but that's now out on U9 there. So something that's going to certainly step up the power level of Newbee another notch in these team fights.
This is a big timing window for Newbee, getting the defusal to deal with the repel. And right now, I was already talking about how limited the Omni Knight is, like how much the limitations that he's facing this game, because they're not able to 5-ban since they are in a bad spot. And right now with the diffusal, it's going to further limit what he's going to be able to provide in the team fights.
Right, so we'll see how this one again goes down. Rose.
Oh. That was actually what happened.
There we go. Thank you very much, the replay team there, able to show us SVG's perspective on that first Dio kill of that last team fight. But still 15 for 5.
He needs to land maybe another 5 of those.
On top lane, Envy. Let's get him out of here. Kaka, well, he's waiting there with his balls. Kaka, oh my goodness, it's a freebie. And Kaka, well, they will get the IO in return, but not the trade you want to be making. Envy for the Kaka IO. Well, okay, according to the position they're in, it's a trade we're taking. You can have Envy. We'll take your IO. It gives us better gold.
I have to say, good news for MP. They're starting to land their hooks.
SVG, he's ready now. He's used up all the bad ones. He's only got the good ones left.
Well, you were right about it. You need to, miss your hooks at the start of the game. Get all of that out of your system.
You're never going to hit all your hooks, so to balance off the kind of the hit percent, you have to master what SVG has, and he's learned how to use the bad ones in the first bit of the game. Get them out of the way, and now he's going to start hitting some absolute crackers.
Unfortunately, the first few hooks he missed was really, really costly. More costly than getting the support kills right now.
But he's going to hit an amazing hook, and then I'm going to ask you, would you rather miss that hook and hit an earlier one? And you'll be like, well, Owen, you know what, you're correct.
I'll wait for that hook to happen. I'll wait for that.
And I think MP is waiting for that hook to happen as well. This is, where SVG is going to need to pull out the big guns. These kind of pushes coming in from Newbee. They've grouped up on the mid lane. They'll take the tier 2 down. More money into SCCC's bank as he sits on 14,000 net worth, a clear 5k ahead of Aoi's farm on the Luna at this stage, and 4.6k in the bank. What's he actually going to go for? He's picked up a Hyperstone. Does he finish off the Manta, or is he going to do something with that first? Is he even going to get just the Mjolnir out on this Medusa, do you think?
Oh, relocate bottom lane. Lasso.
That's a big one as well. Aoi on his own and down. So Luna getting caught very far away from the base as well. Aoi was well and truly out on his own. I think the pings come out there. I think he was attempting to try and get to the shop to... No, he's already got TP picked up. I don't know if he just picked them up when he died, but in a very awkward position there.
I'm thinking about a farming Hyperstone.
Mm-hmm.
What's the player's name that always does it? What's his name again? The guy who plays anti-mage and he does like a casual farming Hyperstone.
Oh, what's his name? The Madman.
Yeah, the mad scientist.
The mad... how can I forget? You put me on there. Who is it? I mean, hello.
CTY.
CTY! That's it! Whatever happens at eHome CTY. That guy was a legend.
Yep, it's actually a casual farming Hyperstone and he's going to finish up his Manta.
Okay.
It speeds up your farm a lot, so I can see the reasoning behind it. I can understand it. The other possible reasons would be maybe you're really uncertain whether you want to get an AC or Mjolnir. So you're keeping your options open. And he has an ultimate orb next, so it's going to tell us that he is going to get a Skadi. So the Hyperstone is still...
The casual Hyperstone.
Just there, just
CTY style.
speed. It's actually a really good way of speeding up your farm. Like, he gets it on AM over the Vlads. Most people would just get the Vlads, but he gets a Hyperstone. It's just something interesting. Like, every player has a different way of, playing anti-mage. And in this case, it's the Medusa that's using the casual farming Hyperstone. This is a first for me, and Kaipi most likely going to get a pick off here onto Mr. Envy.
Kai P, bring back memories there, Winter. They get the jump in indeed. Bat with the lasso. Envy trying to make his way back, maybe hoping for some sort of neutral deny. It's not going to happen.
KP.
K. I was going to say, Kai P are back? Bringing down Envy? They did that a few patches ago. 18-7. Newbee still with a pretty firm grip on this game. It's looking to be a much cleaner performance from them in game 1 for sure from Newbee, and now sitting at nearly over 15,000 net worth advantage. This is looking pretty hard for MP to pull back.
High ground defense, land amazing hooks.
And amazing hooks. U9, here's an amazing hook for you, Winter. And there we go. Oh, that was, I mean, it was nearly an amazing. That was so close.
I thought you said all the bad hooks were out of the system.
If that was the cat set with the tail, does it have a tail? You would have caught him. Oh, it's just ears. I can't remember.
All right, here comes KP. Not Kaipi.
Kaipi.
Oh, they drop a scanner, so they're gonna know that Newbee is around the vicinity. But they're still gonna try to fight here.
SVG. Whoa.
Has he gotten all the miss hooks out of the system? Can he land this hook?
He's holding on to it.
Oh, he has no vision there,
and he's nearly got the. He almost wants to get the ether lens out. It's going to make it a little easier to hit these hooks, especially on the edge of smokes and such. SVG. Oh, he would have got that as well, but KP had already blinked out. Blink getting KP into a good position and now allowing Newbee to chase down. Owie just taking huge punches. They have to use the GA to keep Owie alive. Just S-Triple-C there with the chase down. Oh, SVG tries again. He's not going to hit it. He will be able to get the bat right here, but looks a bit. No, Kaka keeping alive. That's not enough. They have lost the bat, but they've lost Owie on the side of MP. MV, MSS trying to make their way back to base, but with the Hurricane Pikes, they're forcing forward. Newbee chasing down for more. U9 just casually punching down at them underneath the tier 4s. MSS is trying to turn back into this one, but they'll turn back into him. Purification will not save this Omni Knight. Rose on his way back to base. A quick Hurricane Pike and the right clicks from S-Triple-C, bringing him down. And with 4 out on MP, the base looking to be in a lot of danger as Newbee now take the tier 3 bottom and the racks, and almost certainly more at this stage of the game. 22-8. It's been a rough game 2 for MP, and it's been a very impressive display from Newbee.
Yeah, it certainly was. Every bit of movement in the early game, the Io and the Ogre, was spot on. And the first rotation as well. I think that was the most important rotation of Kaka this game, where he got the double kill. The first blood plus
that first bit of play down bottom was absolutely pretty spectacular.
They got the creeps pushing into the tower, and that was what allowed them to actually make that dive. Like 2 waves on the tower.
Oh, SVG. Oh, the Hurricane Pike Duke. And now Envy. He's been tied up. MP, they just really didn't hit it off this game. The draft and execution from Newbee, pretty much on the level we'd expect from these guys.
They lost all their Omni Knight games today. MP.
The Omni Curse. And there we have it. GG is called. They're tabbing out. They've had enough. MP and Newbee will take this last series of the day here at Group B 2-0. And I mean, overall, it's been an up and down adventure for both teams. Are you excited to see more of both of these? And more specifically, obviously, our winners here, Newbee. How do you feel that they're going to fare going into the main competition?
I'm going to be excited to see Newbee, but 2 days break, I think there's a lot of changes that can be made in a team like MP. I'm still really excited to see them play in the main stage, despite them losing this series. I think there's still a lot of things that they might not have shown their opponents. They might have, they are a team that I feel like when I talk about Envy, he's going to have strats, He's going to have something up his sleeves. So I can't wait to watch them play again.
I mean, and looking at this game in particular, what do you feel was the major kind of weak point for him? Was it the drop? Was it the Pudge pick, or
the whole lineup just didn't feel like it binded up together. Like all the weakness, like I mentioned in the game, they have a lack of stuns because they have this Pudge support, and they have a Omni Knight core. They have a SD with the Pudge. No one's there to set up for a hook. So a lot of hooks were missed, or it's very difficult for him to land the hooks. There were just a lot of problems in general with their lineup, unless they're snowballing really hard in the early game.
Absolutely, indeed. A rough showing there from MP in Game 2, but very, very impressive play from Newbee. We'll be able to bring you boys in and girls in on the panel. How are you doing, Alex? Game 2, not much of a crazy game as Game 1 was, and Newbee back to kind of the level of Dota we'd expect from them.
Hey now, I mean, I think that first game set such a precedent. We were expecting a full, intense three-game series.
It was kind of like a club night, wasn't it, Ali? You know, at the start, at the end, you got this big tune, and then the last one, it's a bit of a silent one, a bit of a kind of, before you drive home.
We got a pudge.
You don't strike me as much of a club goer.
I'm not, Alex.
You're not?
I play Dota.
I feel like you just sit in the corner and sip a J2O and think about how you're going to play your off lane.
That's a British thing, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, sorry.
I think it is.
Dude, he doesn't play off lane. He plays carry.
I'm sorry, Winter. Okay, we'll talk about it afterwards. We've got board games day. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All
Me and
right.
Winter are going to go play some board games after we do, of course, say our goodbyes. Thank you so much, Winter and Owen. Much love to you, and of course, much love to our panelists as we are going to be breaking down the final game. Yeah, do we describe it as an anticlimax, or is this just Newbee back where we expected them to be?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Because it was an anticlimax definitely after that first game, but then, you saw the draft and there was a lot of pressure. We talked about a lot of pressure on that Pudge, and he just didn't deliver, right?
We put a lot of weight on that Pudge's shoulders, right? You said you wanted to have a big early game from the gods, and you didn't get it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where he has to have the game of his life. And it's one of those things, Pudge, very unreliable. The hook, by nature as a spell, is one of those things that is more often than not going to land, or if teams are ready for it, they're going to position such that you can't hook them. Meanwhile, on the Newbee side, you had this IO Batrider duo that Jack kept talking about that can just win its lane. If you're going to run a dual lane down there, which NP did, just the Shadow Demon Luna, you're not beating an IO Batrider.
Yeah, and there was no way back into the game for them. It kind of felt like they had to death ball a little bit with the Luna and Razor, these cores that want to stand their ground and fight in the Omni Knight. And without being able to win your lanes or do well early on, it's very hard to even get that pressure going. And then there's no win condition at that point unless you hit godly Pudge hooks left and right.
They tried to 5-man in the mid lane a bunch with the repelled up Luna or Razor, and then they just kept getting initiated on by the Batrider. It was just kind of disaster after disaster for NP.
Yeah, very well played by Newbee as well. And, I mean, we saw KP previous game where he had a bad game. He had a bad laning stage. Bad laning stage, and he had to catch up. This was a game where he had a good laning stage.
Oh, yeah.
And he was, it showed. He was all over the place. Just keeping the pressure on all the time. NP, and they didn't have that much of a plan for when their lanes failed, it felt like.
You feel like they just were not prepared for this, Jack, with the IO Batrider? I mean, you mentioned it's been run a lot in the Chinese scene, but just felt like NP didn't respect it at all.
Yeah, I think they underestimated a little bit. I actually thought they were going to adjust because at the start of the game, you did see Pudge move towards bottom a little bit, so I thought he was going to fend the Ogre off of mid and maybe head bottom, try to get something done there, but that was ultimately not the case. And then I think they were expecting more out of that lane for sure. They expect to be able to bully the Drow or slow her down, but if you want a clinic on how to play like a position 5 here, you look at Faith, like his pulls basically disrupting the lane momentum so that there's no clear angles, no way to bully them out of the lane, and then him just being right place, right time, basically the entire game. It's just a clinic from Faith, and so that secured the top lane for them without anything else going, and they just snowballed from there.
Yeah, and Newbee taking that second seed in the group as well. I mean, that seemed like, I don't want to say it was an inevitability, but that was an expectation of Newbee, right, Shiva? We saw them taking second beneath Virtus Pro, but I think it doesn't tell the whole story. Their journey to this position has by no means been a pristine record.
No, they got crushed by Virtus Pro. Let's put it that way.
Everyone got crushed by that.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. They did in turn crush MVP, so they got something right as well. I think for them, sure they don't take top seed, but overall, you don't mind having rough games because this is the time where you can actually learn and and just come back from your mistakes. You won't have second chances at the main event, so you want to lose some games.
The good news for them is they're not going to meet VP in the bracket for some. If they're on different sides, not till the finals. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but that'd be fantastic. VP on the other side, you're happy.
Yeah, you can kind of kick back and relax just a little bit.
And that second game against VP, they played pretty well for a good chunk of the game, so that's got to be an encouraging side for them as well. Very different from how the first one went.
Now you know Newbee inside and out. I just want to clarify, Jack. Like that was more of your casual expectations of Newbee, or are we just going to be highlighting like underperformance from NP? I mean, I just want to kind of gauge where your criticism lies here.
I think watching NP play, they've been getting steadily better, but there's still some details or some things that they maybe aren't used to playing at that level just yet. And so it takes them more time to learn and basically get there. I think Newbee is very polished already. Great communication, great leadership. They know exactly what they want to do coming into each game, and the great execution.
Yeah, a great execution, especially in towards that second game. The scoreboard will reflect that. We'll bring that up now just so you guys can go ahead and digest all of those numbers. To you, gods, I ask, what stands out when you do kind of try and ingest these numbers?
Probably the supports, Kaka and Faith. Look at that kind of kill involvement they're putting up. That's Kaka in 20 of the total kills. You've got Faith in 20 of them as well. That's just really shows that Newbee are kind of coming together as a team. They were always there responding to any kind of NP aggression. And everything just kind of fit together. I think overall it was less like one player standing out and more just the overall game plan for Newbee being very, very clear. They had clear win conditions. They had answers to what MP were doing. For MP, it was like nothing really came together. There wasn't much synergy with their draft.
Yeah, and NP, of course, not being able to kill a single core. As in SEC and UU9 both not dying at all. So Kaka as the MVP, I mean, that is fair to say. He is also the captain, so all the drafts, all the wins they had today are all thanks to him.
Credit to him. Credit where it is due. Kaka, is the story behind him, Jack, just a bit of a seasoned veteran at this point in time? Can you explain the Kaka story to people at home?
I think, well, he was on eHome for a while,
Sure.
and then for a bit, he wasn't maybe appreciated as much as people thought, and he came to Newbee. He drafted for a little bit. They had a really good run, as you mentioned, last spring, 29 straight wins or something like that. And then I believe for a stretch on this team, the drafting went back to Faith, the older veteran, and I think I'd heard that some players maybe weren't as happy with Kaka in the drafting position, and so that kind of went back again. But he's shown that he's been able to play extremely well, be a playmaker out of that 4 position. If we're talking about like the comparison with OG, he fills that role certainly as a support playmaker, and so he's been on point. You saw those silencer rotations the first game, and this game as well. Just playing that hero, that wisp. If you can play that wisp as a team, it adds so much to your arsenal and playing against most teams, and you saw that this game.
Yeah, getting to see IO in action. I mean, the biggest takeaway from us for NP now, because this is going to be closing thoughts on NP. We'll not be addressing them again. This has been our first day of seeing them in action. I mean, looking at you, Gods, you've kind of been in and out of the NP storyline, but for you, is this expectations met?
I think with the way the group stage works, they shouldn't be too let down. They
Of
just have
course,
to
yeah.
wait to see who their opponent is and plan for them. For NP, the takeaway is, I think, less looking at their opponents who they played today. Obviously, they want to look at their opponent they're meeting later, but look at which drafts of theirs worked and which didn't, what you want to be playing come main event. The Omni Knight, as mentioned, they seem to lose a bit with it. I think the reason with the Omni Knight is they want MSS on, saying that's more of a playmaker that can take more farm. Either take more farm and make plays with it or be the initiating type roles. He had great success on the Darkseer game. We've seen him really shine on heroes other than the Omni Knight. So figuring out what drafts for them worked and which didn't, I think, is what they want to look at.
Okay, well, we'll put a pin in that because it is time for our interview. Our winner's interview is going to be with Slacks. Who is he going to have? We will SCCCCCC.
There's too many C's. Jeez. Hello, my name is Sir Action Lex. I'm here with my very good friend, Josh. How's it going, buddy?
Good.
You're the translator, correct?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. And of course, SCCC. How are things?
你好，感觉怎么样？现在？
现在就是今天有输给 VP， 现在是小组第2，感觉就是只能说能接受吧。
I feel right now today we lost the VP, so we're just second in the group, so it just feels like we can accept the day. That's all.
Well, good enough. So speaking of games, right? Game 1, you guys looked almost relieved when it was over. Did you feel like it was close? Did you think you were going to win?
然后说到比赛的话，咱们谈一下刚才第一盘打 MP， 你们是非常焦灼的一场比赛，终于最终取胜。然后我们在镜头上也看到你们全部都是很松了一口气的感觉。那你对这个是怎么个评价？
因为我们就是第一场比赛的话，可能是5个人都不是特别想输，都是觉得可能要比较认真一点打，所以可能就是气氛可能会比较紧张一点。
In that first game, really, all 5 of us, we really didn't want to lose that first game. So for the whole team, the atmosphere in the room, it was really tense.
Oh, yeah, it seemed like it. So people call you the Chinese miracle. I mean, you're 9K MMR, and but Chinese, it's harder pubs, right? I mean, you're like 18K in relation to the rest of the world, right?
那说一下天梯分，你也是最近达到个9000分。然后很多人把你称作是中国的 miracle， 那就是请问一下，你对中国的路人，跟中国路人跟外国路人做一下比较，你的9000分在中国国内是不是等于国外欧洲的18000分
？18000分的话不是特别好说吧，因为我唯一觉得一点区别特别大的情况下，就是在中国服务器打的时候。可能每个人都比较认真，而且选的英雄包括团队的一种合作，会比可能在美服的话会紧凑很多。在美服打的话，就是不开心了我就挂机了，或者是就是比较不好吧，我觉得。
So 18K maybe not, but I feel like the main difference really is that in China people they always play hard, they play to win, but over here in the US feels like sometimes if people are not having fun, they're not having a good time, they just go AFK, they don't play properly. Over here they don't really pick the right heroes for the team sometimes, so that's the main difference I feel like.
Brutal but honest, I'll give you that, sir. All right, so another question for you. VP. They did pretty good against you guys. Are you looking to face them again, or do you hope that you never run into them one more time?
我问一下，就是关于 VP， 他们今天更早的时候他们是2-0你们啊，那你是否希望在比赛后面会再次有机会面对他们呢？
如果是想拿冠军的话，我觉得应该是很有机会遇见他们。我们也是今天和他们打完之后，也是总结了很多东西，觉得吸收了一些不少的。希望再碰见他们的话，有机会击败他们。
I feel that if we're here and we want to take the champions, then we're definitely going to meet them again. So after we played them today, we went back and we analyzed and we learned a lot. So I feel that if we can meet them again, I hope that we can beat them.
Okay, good to hear. Now this one's personal. Sorry, guys, but I did a lot of research on you, trying to find anything wrong, anything that I can make fun of. You're squeaky clean. I got nothing. Can you tell me one thing, one bad habit of yours, please? Just for me.
然后记者是最后想问一个个人的问题，就是说他研究了一下你，搜了一下你的名字，然后发现你其实没有什么关于你的梗，什么坏新闻都没有，那就请你自己爆一下自己的料，有没有任何一个坏习惯能够跟他说？
我也不知道自己有什么这种坏习惯，可能感觉自己什么都不是特别好，但是也没有什么特别不好吧。然后可能就是做什么事情都太认真吧，可能稍微这一点。
Honestly, I don't really know that much about these things. But if I really had to say one thing, maybe it's that I'm not amazing at anything, but I'm not terrible at anything. And maybe if I really had to say something, it's that I'm too dedicated, too focused, too try hard and serious.
All right. Well, I still don't have anything. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you for translating, and we'll get some dirt on you eventually. Thank you.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. That's the job interview answer, isn't it? It's like, what are your weaknesses? I work too hard. I arrive on time too much.
Too perfectionistic.
I'm a perfectionist.
Perfectionist, yeah.
Oh.
Just the highest MMR player in China or something.
Yeah.
I'm
not good at anything.
What are you talking about? Oh,
that
that's
chiseled
wonderful.
jaw. Those good. FY is not here to represent the handsome men of China. But we've got SEC.
We have.
Yeah,
I mean, Shiva, we have to go back to your point. Eyebrows on fleek.
Definitely.
I still don't know how to use that correctly.
I think it's just with eyebrows and eyeliner. I think that's the only term you would actually use.
So my shirt
for.
can't be on fleek. I don't know.
The cut of your shirt could be on fleek. I think on fleek has
specific.
to be a line of some sort somewhere.
What about his zhuzh? We're learning about zhuzh.
Oh, that's not my word. I'm not that.
Do you know how to spell zhuzh? This is a question to everyone. Do you even know if the word exists?
It's in Urban Dictionary, so.
Oh, so Urban Dictionary definitely knows the answers.
Yeah.
All right, we should probably go ahead and wrap this day up before we just get stuck talking about fleek zhuzhes. That makes no sense to about 60% of our viewers. We need to wrap up this day. Of course, it is a group stage split into 2 days. Today was A and B, and we can go ahead and address what we witnessed. I mean, we actually had a fair share of, stomps, upsets, everything. I think the best way to start when we do address Group A is I throw this over to you, God. You had an opportunity to cast more of these than we broadcast here on the main stream. What was your biggest takeaway from, we'll start with Group B, I guess, since it is up on our screens. We can see VP and Newbee taking those top two seeds.
Yeah, I think VP meeting the expectations, coming in as one of the tournament favorites after dominant runs at the Summit, as well as all the different European events they're playing, and they really delivered here in Group B.
Truly they did, but Virtus Pro, we just kind of came in with this, like, how much hype do they deserve? And it seemed like, Shiva, a lot was the answer.
Every little bit of hype that they have behind them and expectations that they have behind them, I mean, it's still very much there. And I think even the expectations grew a little bit, seeing them here at day one, just dominating with drafts. And we talked about this with drafts that are nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah. You know exactly what they're going to do. And still they just beat everybody that they face.
Now, you didn't catch Group A if you've just been sticking it on this stream, but chances are you did catch a little bit because there was a lot to look forward to. Wings was the biggest start, right, Gods? We sat there and we were like, right, Wings, what can they do? And the answer was, in their opening game, not as much as we expected. Warriors, can we just rehash this story because it is a wonderful one?
Yeah, unfortunately they ended up going down to the Warriors Gaming Unity, the complete underdog, unknown team coming out from Southeast Asia, from Malaysia, upsetting them 2-1 in that opening match over in Group A. Unfortunately, they still finished third place in the group, losing to Wings later on, but that's still a big confidence boost, is something that can really, it acknowledges the fact they can compete with the best of the best out there. The unusual thing to me about this group is DC, not DC getting first. It's the fact they managed to do that without even. DC didn't have to face Wings today. If there's one thing DC went today thinking, it's probably like, all right, we're going to have to verse Wings at some point. We're either going to beat Wings to get first in our group or lose to them and go for second, but they just didn't have to play Wings. I'm like, okay. DC win their group. Today was like such a cruisy day for DC in that way. Yeah,
one thing that didn't go well is, of course, from LGD Forever Young Jack. That was a bit of a sad story to witness.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected this. I mean, having to rotate out 2 players because of the visa issues. On the other hand, though, I did think that they'd be one of the better equipped teams to deal with that. The replacements that they have, DDC has played with the rest of the roster, Xiao 8, quite familiar with them. And then the carry player also not known for kind of stepping out of that and being hard to communicate or work with. And so I expected LFY to do a little bit better than this, but they didn't really put up a great showing in this group. And so other than that, I think the results pretty much went as expected in this group.
Yeah, it was a very, very fun first day. And I believe you had a very fun first day as well, Machine.
I have. I had a great time.
We have video of that.
Wait, what?
And this is you having fun with the camera.
Is this a joke? Who's put this together?
I mean, I'm really bad at editing.
It's just my awful hand gestures. There's too many of them.
Did you have a fun first day, though?
I've had a great time. I need to stop smiling. Ugh.
That was it.
You're not smiling enough.
You're not smiling enough.
Oh my god, that was this is us. I was sitting.
That's
I was waiting to say something stupid.
Where's the funny part of this cut, right?
Oh, that was confusing. Oh, that was a cheeky one. What a Vlad, you cheeky monkey. And the producer's got a little treat for us. Oh, wow, that was lovely. That's cheered me right up, as if I was as grumpy before. Right, we should go ahead and show the updated group brackets as we can remind ourselves. Excuse me, the schedule. Vlad, you distracted me. I'm sorry. Let's have a look at the schedule. We can show you what's coming up tomorrow. This is what you have to look forward to. We get to see EG. That's a storyline a lot of us are looking forward to. A North American affair to start things off. Faceless LGD alongside OG, IG, and eHome Ad Finem. If I forced you, Jack, to choose one to look forward to most, what are your eyes drawn to?
I think EG Complexity is the most compelling series. You have that North American rivalry. These guys always seem to play against each other.
Is that a series?
Can I think one step
ahead? Isn't that going to be the most compelling stomp?
How about LGD EG, which I think will be the match after that? That's hype.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay.
I don't know what's hype about Complexity getting.
God,
trashed by EG.
you looked physically hurt when he said that. If I could, same question to you though. Yeah. Same question to you. I mean, you're looking at. I mean, surely Ad Finem is an exciting story.
I think Ad Finem eHome is actually going to be a really close series, and Ad Finem, it's like their first time finally making it to a Valve event. They've missed out narrowly for the last 2, both the TI and the Manila Major. They were 1 slot away, losing in the deciding match to qualify. So they finally make it to a Valve event. What can they do? eHome have been good, but not great. They've kind of actually had a bit of dip in their results as of the last couple of months. So I think it's a very winnable match for them. I'd say that one.
Beautiful. I mean, we've had a great first day, and we get to do it all again tomorrow. We do hope you'll join us as the Boston Major does continue. Same time tomorrow, same place. As Shiva already said, I've had a great time. You guys have been incredibly welcoming. These guys have been incredibly welcoming and have helped me on my way as I work my way through the Boston Major. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, for more action here in the Dota scene.